here with YBConfused because life is already difficult, so why live it in a trance? Today, we're going to talk about 32-hour work weeks. I personally switched to working only 32 hours about a year ago, and it has been absolutely beneficial to my life. If you have never heard of this, I suggest you look up the New Zealand experiment, where they found that their employees were 24% increase in their home and work-life balance. Now, they found that they had more attendance, people were more creative in the workspace, and that efficiency did not decrease at all. So I heard about this and I decided to try it for myself. Now, again, I work a by-hour job. I'm not a salary worker. I get paid by the hour, so it was a little easier for me to make that transition because I could just put it right into my availability, which is something I talked about in a previous video when I was talking about building those boundaries for yourself to create a consistent life and something that you can really rely on. One of the things that is insanely important to do is to really talk to your boss. If you're working a salary job, I suggest that you do talk to your boss about maybe things that you can do at home, just so you can have a little more relaxed, because just being in a home environment reduces the stress. I do work from home, so I can say the difference between working this job and working my previous jobs is so much different because I can create my own mood, my own balance. It's not the same desk, the same environment, and being around people I truly don't want to speak to half the time. Like, because I am at home, I actually have a very good relationship with my coworkers because we don't have to be around each other in those stressful moments. We can really do take a step back. So if you can find a way to kind of get at least a few hours out of the week done at home, then try your best to do that. One of the first things that I did, because just like how I'm sure you're feeling, I was very concerned about the pay decrease because I would be working 8 less hours. That is a whole day of work that I'm missing out on pay. And so the first thing I did was I reworked my budget. Now, working 8 hours less does not mean that your whole house comes crumbling down. I promise you. It may mean that you just give up 1 or 2 things, or maybe just do a modified version of those things in order to conserve that money. And you actually save money because you're not having to pay for these medical bills because you're constantly getting sick because you're overworked. I personally think 40 hours a week is a very old system. At one point in time, it was like revolutionary and it was very much needed in the workforce, but it's been this way for so long, and I really think that with the new knowledge we have now and this experiment that New Zealand did, it should be great for us to make this transition all around. But until that's done and people are actually being paid a livable wage to work 32-hour shifts or just a livable wage at all, we have to make these modifications, unfortunately. One thing I did to change is I changed how we did our groceries. In order to accommodate my new 32-hour a week schedule, I did switch to meal prepping and I did a monthly grocery shopping. And that's something I talk about in my food scheduling video. So if you're interested in that, please look in the cards to find that video. But yeah, changing to meal prepping and grocery shopping once a month reduced the amount of extra food that I bought, so I don't have very much food waste in our home because we buy exactly what we need for those meals. And because I have my schedule all the way down to the end of next year, so the end of 2020, I don't really have to worry about what I'm making. I've already got my Pinterest board set up with my grocery list set up and everything, and I buy exactly what I need for each meal. So at the end of the month, I've got no food left in my kitchen, but I'm not wasting anything. I'm not wasting any of my resources, whether that be food or money. You don't get that benefit result. But if you have adjusted it where you are only working 32 hours a week and you're not expected to be doing any work on that day, do not do any housework on that day. Act as if you still only have the weekend to handle it. or just 2 days a week to handle some of the things in the house. And on that day, be selfish. Have a spa day, play, have fun with your friends, or just sleep because I'm sure you need it. That's what I've done. My Mondays, because I have a meeting on Mondays, and that's technically my day off, but I do have a meeting with my fellow coworkers. I don't consider that really a day off, and I do other things. That's the day I rework my budget. That's the day I make tweaks around the house, or I organize my Trello boards for the various projects that I'm working on. While Wednesdays are my sloth days. I can't tell you the last time I was productive on a Wednesday. Again, I've been doing 32-hour work weeks for about a year now, and maybe 3 months in is when I really realized that I shouldn't be doing any extra work on those days. So Wednesdays, I get off work at 8 a.m. I try to be a little productive sometimes, but it normally doesn't work out. I go to sleep around 10. I wake up around 3 p.m. and then I just binge watch Netflix. That is the day I literally catch up on all my shows. So use it. Have a sloth day, because there is nothing wrong with being unproductive for 1 day of a week. Actually, I think that's a great productivity week to have 6 days of productivity and 1 day of absolute laziness. And then Thursday, of course, is my errand day. So these are the kind of things I've done in order to gain back that time for myself. Because unfortunately, when you're working 40 hours a week, those 2 days a week are spent on being productive in any other projects that you have outside of your job, because most of us are aspiring to leave our job and do other things. So we normally take 1 day at least to focus on the other things that we want to do. And then house maintenance. No one talks about when you're gonna do the dishes or when you're gonna vacuum. I wish I had a machine for all of it. I wish I had a maid that was like a best friend. That's what I wish. Like, I wish I could get one of my best friends to live in my house with me and clean. But none of my friends will be my maid. I have terrible friends, guys. Terrible friends. But anyways, try to take some time back for yourself. Enjoy your life. And if you can, cut back to 32 hours a week. I'm Natavia of YBConfused, and I hope you have a beautiful, rainbow-filled sunshine day.